Goodbye plastic bags, hello bring your own. As part of the Zero Hunger, Zero Waste initiative, this Kroger location is stepping up and eliminating single-use plastic bags. Eric, even at this hour, runners are still picking up their race day packets. As you can see around me, it's still pretty busy. Heather, Indiana, the Move Over law was enacted here in Virginia in 2002. It requires drivers to change lanes or drive more carefully. The target for the project is bus stops in Henrico County like this one. There's nothing other than a sign, but when they're finished, they will look a lot different. It's an exciting month, wrapping gifts, seeing family, and even returning home for a visit. But for some, it's also challenging.
And receiving dialysis treatments is looking for help. Lately, his shuttle hasn't been coming on time, creating more challenges for him when getting to his appointments. 8 News reporter Jeremy Wall is in the Digital Center where he's sharing more about what he's learned. Jeremy.
Yeah, Eric, that's right. Rudolph Hunt Jr. says that he's been dealing with this problem for a while now, and he says the service is putting his health at risk. Rudolph Hunt Jr. is a veteran receiving dialysis treatment. Each week, he uses GRTC transportation to get him to and from East Henrico Dialysis Center. But lately, Hunt feels the service has been unreliable.
And my rides are supposed to be here between 8 and 8:30. These guys have been showing up like 10 o'clock or 10:30 like today.
According to Hunt Jr., dialysis patients have specific chair times at East Henrico Dialysis Center. If you miss it, you get no treatment. That's already happened to him.
Wednesday, I didn't get treatment at all because they wouldn't get me there. The bus never showed up somewhere around 10 o'clock. And I've called and called and called, and sometimes a half hour worth of calling, and then the dispatcher gets worse and worse.
So I tried calling GRTC. I wasn't able to get a clear answer over the phone. But the Director of Communications and Marketing, Mike Frontiero, said in a statement, quote, "Our paratransit service is investigating the complaint and will address it accordingly." Hunt says if the service doesn't improve, he's worried his life might be over.
I can't miss but so many dialysis treatments because there's toxins that builds up in your blood that the machine cleans out, you know, and there's water or fluid that you take in that's too much for you to take out at one time on your own. That's what the machine is for. If you don't get those treatments, all that stuff builds up and it'll kill you.
Hunt Jr. also tells me he recently contacted GRTC to speak about the issue. They tell him the reason why his shuttle hasn't been coming on time has to do with a shortage of drivers and also a shortage of buses. Live in the Digital Center, Jeremy Wall, 8 News.
A crime alert tonight. A Richmond vape shop targeted by a thief. The criminal getting away with a couple of drinks. Now its owner is concerned, frightened, and thinking about what to do next. 8 News reporter Jeremy Wall is learning more about the robbery.
The owner of Driftly Vapes says several other businesses have been robbed recently, and now his is among them. Scott Waters' vape shop has never been robbed before, until last night. In this surveillance video, a thief comes into his shop telling an employee to open the register. The employee gives the suspect $64 cash. He then tells them to go behind the wall to the break area. Shortly, he takes 2 Sunny D bottles and leaves Driftly Vapes. According to Richmond police, so far this year, there have been 5 robberies in the area. Waters believes because of rising crime, his store was a target for robbery.
Every store, Domino's, Rite Aid, the convenience store across the street have all been victims to some form of an armed robbery.
Last night, a local 7-Eleven was also robbed. When I asked an employee about the incident, they declined to comment. Waters says he wishes more police would patrol the area.
In my 6 years being here, I've seen such a decrease in the amount of police presence, specifically on this block, and I think that is what is contributing to the increase in crime in this area.
Waters also says the recent crime rates have motivated him to move his shop and do more for the time being. After last night's robbery, Waters is considering changing his business hours and closing earlier. In Richmond, Jeremy Wall, 8 News.
Working along the road is dangerous for first responders and roadside workers.
And tonight, VDOT, state police, and others are reminding you to move over. 8 News reporter Jeremy Wall is live in Chesterfield after learning some of their personal stories. Jeremy.
Heather, Indiana, the Move Over law was enacted here in Virginia in 2002. It requires drivers to change lanes or drive more carefully. But even after it was enacted, first responders are still getting hit. Sergeant Steve Scalafani was monitoring traffic overnight in 2009. After speaking to a driver who was speeding, he walked back to his car when suddenly he was hit.
It was 1:30 in the morning, and the next thing I knew, I woke up in a helicopter, unconscious. I was flown to MCV. I had severe injuries to my back.
He says he's lucky to be alive and recommends drivers slow down, especially when they see people working alongside the road.
When that traffic is going by you in the right lane at approximately 70 miles an hour, you definitely can feel it. You feel the shift in your vehicle, and it is important for drivers to move over, slow down, and if they can't move over, to slow down below the posted speed limit.
Scalafani isn't the only one to get hit. In 2018, Hanover County Fire and EMS Lieutenant Brad Clark was killed while responding to an emergency off of 295 during Tropical Storm Michael. His wife Melanie, a Move Over advocate, says the back of the fire truck was struck by a tractor trailer.
Fortunately, had a few seconds to alert his crew that a tractor trailer was coming and save their lives, but he lost his in doing that. So if the driver would have moved over just one lane and not been in the left-hand lane, Brad and his crew would be safe. It needs to change, and our hope is by educating the public, we can slowly make a difference.
The Emergency Responder Safety Institute says 65 workers were killed nationwide in 2021 due to roadside collisions. VDOT recommends that when you see first responders or even tow truck drivers on the side of the road, you slow down, pay attention, drive carefully, and don't forget to move over.